Hi, guys, and welcome back to Level Up with Lou with your girl Oni. Thank you so much for listening to the last episode and for the great feedback you guys have given me. I am back with a brand new episode. Guys, I have a very special guest here. Her name is Afrah. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Afrah, and I have my own podcast called Screw the Stigma, where my main mission is to break societal stigmas and to live the best life that we can live. And one of the many topics I cover that is basically breaking the boundaries that society has built for us. Some of the topics are like racism, sexism, mental health, cancel culture, and other social issues. So you can tune in every Monday.
So we talked about marriage and the pressure to get married, especially at a young age, and coming from like both Asian and African backgrounds and having that pressure on us. But why do you think marriage is still seen as the ultimate goal for women in some cultures?
I think one of the main reasons is because they think that women's purpose is to give birth. And the proper way to do that is to get married because, sex before marriage is a no. So obviously, you should get married, and that's the one and only way to do it. And adoption,
Yeah.
that's not a choice. Why do that? So definitely one of the reasons is to get married and to have kids the proper way, basically because
Mm.
even things like being a surrogate or adopting in general are seen as something that is so wrong, and especially like
Yeah.
adopting, I feel like could save a lot of people, save a lot of children's trauma going through the whole process of being in an orphanage. But why do that when you can get married at a prime age and do it the proper way?
The proper way, as
The
they say.
proper way.
No, you're right, And I think I think it's a lot to do with how women are viewed in terms of like you said, what their purpose is. And if you think women are just here to kind of help men and have babies, then you will think marriage is like the ultimate goal, and that once you like if you're not married, you're not somewhat fulfilled in that. In terms of dreams and aspirations, do you feel like women's dreams and aspirations are seen as important? And if you don't think so, how does that manifest? How have you seen it in like your personal life or, people around you?
I think one of the main reasons is because there's so many restrictions around women that any dreams and aspirations that you need to have as women, it's kind of we have to play around and cut around what society wants us to do. So I think
Yeah.
definitely one of the reasons that makes us believe that, hey, I want to do this. Like, for example, if you want to go into the army, like, that isn't something so encouraged for women to go and do, because if you go into the army, then you won't be able to be married for a certain period of time and have kids. And that's one of the things. I think a lot of aspects play a role in women planning out their future, planning out their missions, planning out on what they want to do. Even for me, for example, like 5 years ago, I wouldn't think that I would want to go to even university. I didn't think that was an important thing to do as a woman because, just get married, the guy will provide you money. And that's just what the mindset is. And even if you want to
Yeah.
travel the world, one of the main reasons is like, oh, you can't travel the world, because it's not safe, which I do agree. There's a high amount of danger for women, but the one thing that and a lot of other factors because of society, women are forced to change their way of living and their plans and their aspirations because their ultimate goal is just to have kids. And if you can't do that, then why do you need to have your own dreams and missions? And
Mm.
that's just, I think that's one of the main things that society believes in, that your life should mainly focus on having kids, and then you focus on things that you want to do after you do that. And obviously
Mm.
moms nowadays, they also get so much backlash of following their dreams, going, working a job that requires so much time out of their day because they have kids. But there isn't that much pressure on men to take care of kids. Even though they have an equal part in the kid's life, they aren't seen as responsible for the kid, and
Mm.
there's like a no-win situation for women at this point.
You're right. You're right. I agree completely. I think that women's dreams are aspirations are important as long as they don't affect what you're trying to do in terms of having a family. So the minute your dreams and aspirations come before your family, you're seen as a witch, you're seen as a wicked woman, you're seen as a bad
Yes.
mother. And I'm just like, no. The thing is, like, I'm not sat here
Yeah.
saying like don't put your kids first, don't be a good mom,
Definitely
don't pour
not.
into your children, don't be I'm not like being a stay-at-home mom, like I commend all the women that do it, like that's amazing. But there's also room and space for working moms. There's room and space for women who want to be CEOs and bosses and still have their family and children. And there's also room for women that don't want to have children. Like children, like it's actually not by force. Like when I say not by force, this is a term we use in England, meaning that like it is not compulsory. You don't have to do these things just because society tells you to do these things. I feel like a world where women are not bold, women are not fearless, women are kind of molded to be kind of men's assistants is a boring world. Like think about all the amazing inventions, the amazing companies, the amazing things we have now because women have actually pursued their dreams and step out of their comfort zone and followed what they want to do. Like I think there's so much that we can accomplish today. And even looking at someone like Kamala Harris, who is the Vice President of America, seeing her at that stage, a woman of color, a woman who's not only Asian, she's also of African descent, being Jamaican, obviously, because we know black people are from Africa. It is it's a wonderful thing. It's something that we can all look at and aspire to do. And it's not impossible. The ceiling is kind of being broken every single day. So it's amazing, honestly. So your podcast is about breaking stigmas. In terms of like stigmas, what do you feel like is the biggest stigma women face today?
Definitely one of the stigmas that women face is they can't be leaders. I think that's one of them. And they can't, one of the things is that they think that they aren't responsible enough, or they aren't, they can't put their emotions aside enough to be leaders and to accomplish things. So that's one of the main stigmas. Another stigma is that uh, it's just that their needs aren't as important as men, and that is another thing that not just a stigma, but we're made to believe that this is just how our needs aren't that important. And I know a lot of people in my life, they believe that even when they're in a relationship, they tend to do things out of their comfort zone because they think that that is just the way to go, and that's just how things are. You should give up and you should sacrifice yourself and your needs for the man. I think that's one of
Mm,
them. And
yeah.
another thing is people don't talk about issues for women like postpartum depression and things like that. And even myself, I was only educated about it a few years ago, and that's because I did my own research, because the concept of
Mm,
depression is already scary enough, and nobody really talks about the struggles that women go through with postpartum depression and educating them about it. And it's
yeah.
scary that kids and like not kids, sorry, teens are becoming mothers and they aren't
Mm.
educated enough about this. They could be going through this, but they might not even know that they are going through this. So I think those are definitely some of the main stigmas.
People often think, oh, that like it's not that big of a deal, that you'll be fine, you're just feeling a bit down. Because there's obviously like some women, as in, it's quite like a serious thing that happens, having a child. Like we forget how traumatic it is on the body itself. And the minute you start to realize that, this kind of sadness, this low mood, this lack of energy is persistent, after maybe like 2 3 weeks of having this child, it is a sign that you're depressed. And women will often like feel like they can't like connect with their baby, and have like trouble sleeping, and say, oh, this is all normal, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But no, actually, when you see certain things in your partner or your friend or someone that that's close to you, it's okay for them to seek help for it, because there's stuff they can do in terms of like therapy and support they can give them. And I feel like, especially when women have kids initially, obviously there's that support. But I think even in the longer term, in terms of like a longer term support, I feel like people kind of forget like that that sometimes all you need is someone to just listen to you, and someone to just kind of be your advocate, especially when you're looking after a new human being who needs all these things, and that you have to like stay up and kind of sacrifice your life at that time for that child. So I think men have to kind of, no, I don't want to say men, but people have to kind of just be more supportive and be more understanding to women's needs, I would say.